A further 6 nations just qualified for the World Cup. CR7 can't stop scoring alongside Merino. We got blatant corruption in Asian qualifiers, and the Spaghetti Mafia did what FIFA and UEFA were incapable of doing. This is DMAC Daily. It's coming home, or rather, es kommt nach Haus. Thomas Tuchel's England have officially qualified for next year's World Cup in pretty impressive fashion too. 6 games played, 6 wins, 6 clean sheets, averaging 3 goals a game. Sure, qualification was the bare minimum. Obviously, far greater challenges await the Three Lions, but you can only beat what's put in front of you, and bar that monstrosity of a headband Gordon wears, they're looking pretty good out there. Defensively, they're very organized, the overall squad depth is notable, and in Harry Kane, you have a proven, prolific goal scorer in his absolute prime. 21 goals already in 13 games for club and country. The reality is, England have never possessed a striker with this kind of output historically. Now, can Tuchel fix their bottle job mentality at major tournaments? Well, that's a different question, but in terms of personnel, it's definitely there. Moving to Group E, and forget about Lamine Yamal or Pedri, Mikel Merino has suddenly become Spain's MVP. That's 6 goals in 4 games now, his latest victim being a helpless Bulgaria. He wears the 6, but I think he should flip it into a 9, because he's legit a bagsman. Only Haaland has contributed a higher percentage of goals for his team in this World Cup qualifying campaign. Turkey also got 3 points in Group E over Georgia, but I cannot envision a reality where they qualify ahead of Spain. More news from European qualifiers shortly, but we gotta first switch gears to Africa, because so much has happened in the last 24 hours. Starting with Group C, and heading into this match day, it was all to play for. Remember, South Africa suffered a 3-point penalty for fielding an ineligible player in a previous qualifier, putting Benin in the driver's seat in top spot heading into match day 10, whilst Nigeria had to secure a significant result to keep their faint World Cup aspirations intact. What followed was unbelievable. The Super Eagles, who had been underwhelming throughout the entire qualification, went nutty mode. Osimhen proceeded to smash home a hat-trick in an unexpected 4-0 win to move into the playoffs in 2nd place, with Benin sent packing, as South Africa eased past Rwanda to sneak back into top spot. Bafana back on the biggest stage for the first time since 2010. Maybe it's the nostalgia in me, but I love that they're going to be back at the World Cup. I'm not sure if vuvuzelas will be allowed in the stadium, but I want a repeat of the magic of 2010. Imagine the scenes if Mexico draws South Africa at the Estadio Azteca. Football gods, please make this happen. In Group B, Senegal have also qualified following their 4-0 hammering of Mauritania, confirming their 4th World Cup finals appearance. And look, it's only early days, but these guys gotta be in the conversation as potential dark horses come next year. Morocco reached the semi-final in 2022, and I'd argue that on paper, Senegal has an even stronger team. I mean, look at the quality in that starting 11. Do not sleep on these guys. The Lions of Teranga are a problem, as are the Ivory Coast. A comfortable 3-0 rout of Kenya on the final match day ensured their qualification for the first time since 2014. They may no longer possess those superstar African players like Drogba or the Toure bros, but this group is full of high-level players that appear to be gelling with one another too. Only Tunisia fared better out of the other 54 competing African nations. So Africa now has 9 confirmed representatives at next year's tournament, but we've still got the playoffs, which are a somewhat confusing process. So let me explain as best as I can. It was anticipated that out of the 9 groups, the 4 highest ranked 2nd place teams would advance to the CAF playoff tournament with a 2-legged semis and a final, with the winner of that moving to an intercontinental playoff. But as Eritrea withdrew from qualifying back in 2023, one group would have 5 teams and play a total of 8 games. So CAF came up with a new rule that matches against the 6th place teams in other groups would be discounted. So for the final 4 rankings, Gabon, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Cameroon, and Nigeria crept into the final 4. Incredibly unlucky for Burkina Faso, who missed out by a single goal conceded. The playoff draw is yet to be finalized, but I have no idea who will advance here. Would love to see either Gabon or the DR of Congo reach the World Cup, having never done so previously, but all 4 contenders boast incredible players. Moving to the Asian qualifying playoffs, and the blatant corruption here is actually crazy. Focusing purely on the results first, and in Group A, Qatar officially qualified, having defeated the United Arab Emirates to take top spot, whilst Oman were eliminated. And in Group B, Saudi Arabia finished in 1st place ahead of Graham Arnold's Iraq following a goalless draw. Despite being level on points and goal difference, in the end, the two would be separated by goals scored. So Saudi have now now qualified, which is incredibly harsh to Iraq, but this isn't the problem I have with the playoff situation. The issue at heart here is where this playoff was hosted and the scheduling itself. In Group A, all games were conveniently hosted in Qatar, and in Group B, surprise, surprise, Saudi Arabia hosted. Despite the objections of the 4 other competing nations, the AFC greenlit this idea. I understand Qatar and Saudi Arabia have great infrastructure to host, but a neutral venue is the only way to ensure fairness in such a high-stakes situation, because the home advantage Qatar and Saudi had was significant here. Beyond that, only 2 of the 6 teams competing had a 6-day break between their games. The other 4 teams had just 3 days recovery. Who were the 2 nations that had 6 days to prepare? Of course, it was Qatar and Saudi Arabia. These 2 states leveraged their institutional power to rig this entire playoff in their favors. They didn't buy the referees to throw these games, but they utilized every other factor possible to favor them. FIFA alongside AFC are devoid of any integrity whatsoever. It's disgraceful. But now the second place teams UAE and Iraq will meet in the 5th round playoff, with the winner of this advancing to the Intercontinental playoff. Moving back to Europe, and 40-year-old Ronaldo was back amongst the goals, scoring a fresh brace at home against Hungary, surpassing Guatemalan legend Carlos Ruiz for the most goals in World Cup qualifying history with 41 in 50 games. That's 143 goals now for Portugal, 948 in total for his career. However, Ronaldo wouldn't be fully satisfied with Szoboszlai's stoppage time equalizer preventing Portugal from qualifying, whilst Ireland kept their playoff hopes alive with a 1-0 victory over Armenia. I still think Portugal are a shoo-in to qualify, and craziest of all, I still think a 41-year-old Ronaldo will be leading the line for them come 2026. So much controversy surrounded his poor Euros campaign. Many thought that he was finished at the international level, but in the Nations League, Ronaldo then carried Portugal to silverware, and in World Cup qualifying, he has remained their talisman with 5 goals in just 4 qualifiers. It blows my mind how he's still able to make a difference so consistently. I'm not here to suggest he's anywhere near his prime, but simultaneously, his physical condition is still insane. I'd argue he actually appears sharper than he did at the Euros back in 2024. I'm fully confident in him now reaching that 1,000 goal mark now. I think if he wants to, he could still play for at least another year or 2. Athletically speaking, he's on another planet. Unk definitely still got it. And now, to close out today's episode, we gotta talk about a great result overnight. Let's just say, today I feel Italian. My managerial goat Gennaro Gattuso goes 4 from 4 as the Azzurri have defeated the genocidal state, Israel, 3-0, meaning they've officially failed to qualify for the 2026 World Cup. Look, in a just world, FIFA and UEFA would have banned them a long time ago, but in a rare instance of karmic justice, both Norway and Italy have since kicked them to the curb. Focusing on Italy, and look, I was shocked at the appointment of Gattuso. It seemed a baffling decision at the time, but fair play. He's quickly steadied that ship and got them back on track. I can't envision them overtaking Norway in the next month. Even if they do beat them in November, that goal difference will probably be too great to overcome, but there's positive signs, particularly going forward. Italy hadn't had a competent 9 for some time. They've now got Retegui and Moise Kean firing. Esposito looks a real talent too. At full strength, this is a quality team on paper. I do wonder though if Gattuso has the tactical know-how to achieve further success against superior opposition, because look at the teams he's actually come up against so far. The Azzurri still have a long way to go. Anyways guys, that's all for today's DMAC Daily. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you next time.